Welcome to Unbiased and On the Fence. I'm Shane, and I'm joined by my two guests. Let me make sure you guys are unmuted because it always moves on me. There we go. First off, Eileen. How are you, Eileen?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful, and we are also joined by Case of Everyday Masters. He's back this time with the camera because typically all we can handle is audio. So this is awesome that you're somewhere with decent internet, man.
I feel like I'm live now.
Yeah.
But you got to tell everybody that story because I've been on internet dial-up since 1997. And Case, somehow you managed to probably find the only house in America that didn't have internet service, right?
It's been a practical joke in my family for like 4 years now, how pissed off Dad gets with dial-up internet. And so as soon as we moved to this place, they had never had cable. They've never had internet here. And so the guy came out to install the internet, and he said, "Ooh, you don't have the box that's supposed to be across your street. It's going to be about 7 weeks." And I was just like, I can't take this anymore. This is, and so I made a couple very nice phone calls, and I got it shortened to like 2 weeks. So
did you? See, I think everybody here knows you from Everyday Masters channel, but if there's a few who haven't seen you, you've been living in paradise for years without internet, right?
Yeah. Well, I've had internet. I guess they call it internet, but it was. I would literally stream movies at 28K. So it would take me about 9 hours to download a movie for,
I remember those days. That was decades ago. Yeah. And you were in Mexico, right? A beautiful part of Mexico on the coast somewhere?
Yeah, in the Yucatan. Yeah. I missed that place.
Was that on the Gulf Coast or on the Pacific side?
Yeah, Gulf Coast. Yeah, it was spectacular.
I wonder if you'll go back. You never know.
I don't know if we do go back. I think we're going to go back to the mountain. There's this place called San Miguel de Allende, and it's like this really kind of European kind of town with a good mix of people from around the world, and it's got really good weather because we did kind of get sick of the 95-degree weather with the humidity. After a while, you're just like, okay.
I'm in it. I'm really close to the Everglades here, and I'm still in America, but it's like often we have 100% humidity. You walk outside and you're dripping wet like you've just had a shower. Yeah.
Or you take a shower, and then you get out of the shower
and have another one. I don't mind it though. I grew up in Trinidad and Egypt was dry heat, like Phoenix in America, 140 degrees, and then Trinidad is that hot, wet heat, like Galveston, Texas or something like that. So I'm kind of used to all of it. Shane, do you want to do an introduction to Case?
The man who needs no introduction.
Basically, but we probably should anyway.
Yeah, so why don't I let you do that, Case? Because you got your website going on.
We don't need an introduction.
All right, well, I want to do a mini one anyway.
Okay.
Because I bumped into Case from Moneybags many years ago. I think it was like 2 years ago now. And he just got on his channel because I was newly Mandela affected, and I found Shane. And Shane was like a lifeblood to me because it was positive Mandela effect messages instead of demons are doing it, Satan's doing it, etc. And Moneybags gets on and he's like, guys, you got to go to this guy's channel. It's so cool. I really resonate with what he's saying. So I clicked the link there, and I think you had like 1,000 subs that day, maybe less. And here's this guy, really cool dude, walking down the beach, has a baseball cap on, and he's just talking to his phone. And what he's talking about is reconnecting not only to your higher self and to each other, but like reconnecting to source energy. And I was like floored. I was like, wow, this is super cool. Sub. And then like the next video came out and you had like 15,000 subs. Like that.
Yeah.
Remember?
I remember I was at like, I don't know, a dozen videos or something. And I was like, I wonder how many videos Case has. And he had like 4 and like twice as many subs. I'm like, wait a minute, 4? How the heck did he do it? But they were great videos. You know,
it started off
it wasn't
fast,
good content. It was,
and then it slowed down. So I feel like I've earned my subs now.
Okay, because you said, whoa, I'm
like,
not so sure. Yeah.
No,
yeah,
but we know why. We know exactly why. And you get it all the time. I was led to your video, some kind of strange coincidence.
Right.
And that's why I tell people, don't even worry about having to use the YouTube algorithms to get your video out there. We have help. It gets out there somehow.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
We do. And some of the favorite things that you talk about for me is that you don't really need psychic protection if your frequency is correct, if you're vibrating with love, if you're vibrating with forgiveness. If you can maintain that love and forgiveness, you are protected. And I totally agree with that. So like I'll astral project while I'm meditating, no fear, because I know I'm protected and I know I'll come back.
Well, see, that's the key. I mean, if you believe you need protection, then you do.
Right.
I mean, but if you realize that, if your frequency's high, how can something in a lower frequency affect you? It can't. You would have to come. I just don't believe that. So
yeah, or you create it yourself. You create this thing this monster in your head.
Absolutely.
You know,
so like you said,
powerful.
Fear draws more fear, and love draws more love. So if you project the fear, you might be attracting something to be fearful of.
You're like guaranteed to attract something.
Just like you say all the time, Case. It's like we're doing it all the time, and we just want to learn to do it properly because we're doing it. You're creating either this bad reality that you perceive, where everybody's out to get you, this whole victim thing, or you're creating something completely different. That can all exist, but it doesn't even have to be part of your world. You know?
Yeah, it does not. It does not.
Speaking of which, Cynthia Sue Larson did a video this week, I don't know if you guys caught it, where she briefly talks about Edinburgh scientists who are doing thought experiments. Now, we here in this community do thought experiments every day. We're constantly thinking about how things could be, right? And they're trying to prove, because they're quantum physicists, that we each create our own version of reality. So we're all in this soup together, but none of us share the exact same reality. And if they get there, that would be super cool because it would be vindicating all of the things that we've been saying all along.
I'm done waiting on science. You know what I mean? Like good for them. I hope they finally make it, because that's what's happening. That is how we create our world. So I wish them the best. I hope that they validate what we already know.
I'm so glad that someone's even willing to go there.
Yes.
You know,
I actually did see before I went on. I checked out your guys' last video with her, and man, I just love what she was saying about how the quantum mindset is seeping into all of science, and it's just like they don't know how to handle it. And I just think that's awesome. Because don't you guys feel like science focused on the atom and matter for hundreds of years, so much so that they totally forgot about consciousness and the role that consciousness plays in creating the atom, the matter? Yeah. I think they'll catch up fast. I think they'll just. I think it's almost like anything. You know, as soon as a certain idea or concept is understood by a few, then it just takes off and takes off and takes off. I think our kids are going to grow up in 10 years. Science progressed so slowly. I think it actually progressed one death at a time. But now it seems like people are more willing to, because, if you're a scientist and you've believed something and to go against that, it kind of goes against everything that you've been doing. So you you don't want to lean into that. But I think it's going to start happening fast.
Isn't that the heart of science? It's almost sad when you see how, you know, that heart of being a scientist and really trying to seek out true answers of things like that. And then you hit the same roadblock that you would run into with religion or politics, right? And it's like, wait a minute, aren't you really, that's what we're after, is the truth here. Why is there anomalous items that we'll just take them and set them on the shelf because they don't fit with the narrative?
Exactly.
And like studying paranormal officially and scientifically, it's like what they're doing goes against science. Science is supposed to explore the new. You're supposed to move the boundaries out. But because they'll put you down and you won't get published and nobody will give you any money, they don't push the boundaries anymore. So they're not really doing science.
No, that's not science.
Yeah.
And that's that heart that gets people into it to begin with. But I think what you're saying is true, though, because once a lot of this stuff that, you know, you can look to something more metaphysical for an answer and it fits, and that's not too fringe anymore, that's going to open them up to you know, it's going to be this huge snowball effect. We're like, well, hey, if it works for this, why don't we look at it with this, you know? And then all of a sudden they start getting answers for this stuff that's been there all along, but just too far out there. Mainstream.
People don't want to come across, they don't want everybody else to think they're crazy, and so they stay in their little box. But
except for us, our community, we're openly crazy. We're like, yep, tick that box a long time ago. So maybe we, not being too much of a braggart in our whole community, maybe we're pushing science to go a little bit further because we're willing to risk it, right?
Why shouldn't they? We're connected to the whole, so every little advancement we make, we're advancing the whole. We're advancing the whole. At least that's what I
feeding
believe.
Consciousness. So, Case, do you believe that consciousness? I know you believe in an individual soul, based on what I've heard from your videos. But do you believe, how far is that individual soul truly autonomous compared to the collective we, the collective humanity, where we share this subconscious ability to create matter?
Well, I think we're co-creating this experience with everybody, but then I think we're absolutely creating our own individual interpretation and how we experience our reality. So what was your question again?
That's it. It's both. Yes, we are both. We are both the whole. So there is a shared collective consciousness that could be creating the Mandela effect and other things, or helping it along, if not creating it. And then there's the individual sovereignty of the individual soul within the whole. Well, how would that fit into like a holographic multiverse? That's the only way I can see this world anymore, is like a hologram and a multiverse, multidimensional at the same time, because at least those two models allow for everything, allow for the miracles, the impossible, the, you know, what do you think? How do you see the universe or the earth?
Well, I think that, I mean, in my opinion, it's clearly a holographic simulation, but it's consciousness.
Yeah, not a computer chip, but consciousness. It's not like some computer,
like my opinion is it's absolutely not like some computer, you know, holograph that we're in and we're trying to figure out. We are this consciousness, and you know, we manifest into these physical bodies and have our own perspective. And you know, I'm thinking about things like now where it's like, because I notice people in my life have changed since I've went through this last 7 years or 10 years or whatever. And let me plug in. And so when I see the changes in these people, hold on, what happened?
That's all right. I got you still, but we got a picture of you.
Am I back now? So, did I hit something?
You might have hit the camera button.
Oh, it's on the screen. Yeah.
Yeah. What do I do?
It's right next to the red hang up button. You want to hit There we go. Yeah.
So I'm still new to all this the Google
Hangout stuff.
Oh yeah, I should have warned you. Hangouts it's like it uses more than you can charge, so it's still, the clock might still be ticking on your battery. Just warning you.
So what was I talking about?
Oh, okay. your family changed when you changed. You're like, oh yeah, I noticed this. I was changing. Everybody around me, your family were changing.
So I just noticed that certain relationships I had changed, and so I was thinking, so did I shift to, but also these same people that have changed for me, I noticed that they haven't changed for other people. So I'm thinking either I am creating the best possible version of them as I'm communicating with them, or did I shift to a reality where they are a different person? You know what I mean? Like everything is so.
Yeah. But is it always better though? Does it always seem like the version of the person is better, or
always?
Okay.
Yeah, always.
Because some people say, being Mandela affected, that their family or friends are a worse version because they don't accept the Mandela effect and think they're crazy. They're like, oh, you're crazy. Stop talking about that stuff. And so they interpret the people around them as being not as loving as they were before they became affected.
Yeah.
Right, but from their point of view, they think we've lost it or that we're crazy.
Yeah.
Like, wow, stay away from that crazy guy. He's thinking reality is shifting. You know what I mean?
True. Yeah.
So I mean, I've seen the changes, but I don't know. I'm like, I've changed quite a bit, so it could have just been all me because I've looked at the same thing you're talking about. Where people seem different, and I'm like, well, I for sure seem different to them. How much of it is it just me? And I don't know.
Okay. Here's a question for both of you guys. There is a theory that you all know that everything that's outside is inside of you. So everything out there is completely up to you. How you respond to it creates how it acts. In other words, your reaction comes first, and that's how people act. They act based on how you expect them to react. Then there's like the Greg Braden version where it's like, okay, it's 70% you, it's 20% other people around you, and what am I up to? 70, 80, 90. It's 10% dumb luck, fate. Like there's this element out there that you cannot control that will occasionally like hit you, and you'll go, wait a minute, I didn't manifest that. What do you guys think of that?
I don't know. All I know is that every single person that I meet, and not online, you know what I mean? Not like behind the keyboard, but every person I meet in my life is friendly and helpful. And I mean, I haven't met anybody that's been rude to me in so long. So I don't know. I think it's us. I think it's all us. I mean, obviously it can be all us, but man, it sure, to me, it kind of feels like we are all individually creating our worlds. And yeah, I don't know. But
Shane and I used to joke about that, didn't we? I'm like, you're a figment of my imagination, Shane. And he'd go, no, you're a figment of my imagination.
Yeah, so I think on a certain level, like Alan Watts talks about, like God split himself off into all these little fractals to go experience life. And so on that level, we all are the same individual. I mean, you can think of it that way, this creative, whatever you want to call God, the thing that makes all of us alive and vibrant and connected and all of that. Source, love, God, creation, whatever you want to call it. But I think on that level, we're all the same. But, we are living out our individual realities, and we're creating it as we go. And I think with the Mandela effect, the way that we'll have dual memories of things, I think we can either tap into that consensus reality of how things should be or how they appear to always have been. And then we've got our own individual, what we remember. They're actually a part of our individual reality. So that's why we'll have dual memories at times. So I think there is this sort of tuning into one or the other or both, and it's probably always a little bit of a mixture.
Yeah.
I don't know though. I'm with you though, Case. Ultimately, I have no idea.
I have no idea either. I like asking questions, because then I have to answer them.
Yeah.
Not much. Yeah, I'll keep asking the questions. So, like, I like to think of like if each of us is a cell in the body of God, but like one is in the heart and one's in the liver and one's in the lungs. If you guys bumped into each other, you probably wouldn't recognize yourself as being the same. You know, would a heart cell recognize a liver cell? Maybe not. You know, so I kind of think like we're one and individual at exactly the same time. And this gets me to trying to solve the conflicts of duality. Like, it's not a yes or no. It's a yes or a no to both things, because it could be either at all times, both. Right? Yeah, both.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have a theory now. Yeah, Cynthia and I have been like, because she's going to come on our show next month, and we've been emailing each other a little bit because she's a physicist, but she's also a motivational what's the word? Metaphysician, right? Mm-hmm. Like all of us. I think we're all like metaphysicians. And I said, well, is it possible then that reality is a wave and a particle at the same time, and it's never condensed down to a particle? Because you know how we think here, oh, it's always in waveform of all possibilities, and then when you observe it, it goes into permanence, it goes into particle. But then, you know, here comes Shane, and it goes back into a waveform, so Shane can collapse it. And then here comes Case, and again, the same thing I collapsed a year ago is in waveform again for you, which would mean it's never a particle and it's never a wave, because it's always both, like always.
Yeah. Yep. And we just, and so from that perspective, then we would be 100% in control over creating.
Yeah.
Right.
If we wanted to be, and if we thought we were, because you can float around, and if you think you can't do something and you don't try to do it, then you don't know you can do it. You have to know you can do it, or at least think you might be able to do it before you even try.
Yeah.
Right. But then there's that certain level, which I want to get both of you guys' input on this too. You know, like you can be, say, a waiter, right? You got two waiters. They both go to this table. One of them perceives the couple as being really nasty and rude, right? But the other person doesn't. And it's like nothing was different about how that person acted. It's just how they perceived it. And you can see people a lot of times will be like, well, they were kind of rude, weren't they? I'm like, no, they weren't rude at all. I didn't see it, you know. Yeah. And so it's like, how much of that, we've definitely got some wiggle room in just regular reality without adding any kind of metaphysical thing, just with the way you perceive things,
totally.
You know?
I agree, totally.
Well, there's the fact that, so that person, that one of those waiters, you know, they have their own beliefs, and so they're projecting onto those people a certain thing. But then there's also the aspect of that person's field. The fields are interacting, and the field of somebody else can definitely influence you.
Right.
I mean, that is like your field.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Field is strong. It will override the other person's field.
Like,
it can be off-putting.
A video that like somebody's negative field can make you act more negatively, and you're
make you feel agitated or anything, probably.
Yeah.
Or somebody's loving, gentle, healing, forgiving field can make you feel more loving and more.
One time I went to go have a QHHT done, and I was really, really looking forward to it. And it was one of those things where, you know, like everything was like, it was so perfect. Like I went on Google Maps and it was like 33 miles away, or it was like, you know, like every single thing was like so synchronistic. And I was like, oh man, this is going to be amazing. And then so I go to the QHHT, and, you know, I think you're supposed to talk for like an hour. Well, we talked for like 2-3 hours, and it was, we were having such a great conversation. She's like, oh, this is going to be amazing. I'm like, oh, I can't wait. And then it didn't work. Like nothing happened. Like literally nothing happened. And so as I was driving home, I was so confused. I just, like, I kept thinking, I was just confused. I was just completely confused. And so as I drove home, I had to get something to drink. So I stopped off at a gas station, and I went in and got a green tea, and I went up, and I know this green tea costs $1.03. You know, it's Arizona green tea. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I bought like 1,000 of those, so I know how much it costs. So I went up to the lady, and I'm in a state of confusion, and so I give her $1, and I reach in my pocket, and there's 2 pennies. So I pull out the 2 pennies, and I look in the change drawer, and there's a bunch of pennies. So I just grab 1 penny, and so I give her $1.03. And she goes, it'll be $1.03. And so I give her $1.03, and she just starts looking at the money, and I'm going, what's she doing? And then so she reaches in the penny drawer and takes out of the change thing and picks up another penny. And I'm going, what is going? It's $1.03. There's $1.03 right there. And then so she takes it, and I'm watching her, and her eyes are kind of weird. And she takes it and she puts it in, and then she stops, and then she pulls out a penny and she gives me the penny back. And I'm going, what is going on?
And you put it back in the little drawer for people who need pennies, right?
But I was like, you're a cashier, and it's $1.03, and I gave you $1.03, and you're acting like. And I was thinking, wait a second, I'm in such a state of confusion in my own field.
You're interfering with hers.
I overrode her field, and she couldn't even
count a penny.
Couldn't even count change. And I was like, wow, wow, something happened there. You know what I mean?
I do have a theory on that, but it's only my personal theory.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I'm taking BQH, but I haven't finished the course because I'm doing this Lynne McTaggart masterclass with my sister. Hello, Healthy Aging, who changed her name to Tips from an Old Lady. And now her name in the chat is Tips from an Old Lady Healthy Aging. And everybody just calls her Old Lady. They're like, yeah, old lady. Great advice, old lady. So anyway, and hi to April for last night as well. I'll email you tomorrow about all that stuff. Okay, so my theory is, after having read 6 books from Dolores Cannon and being a somnambulist myself and having been regressed by the Edgar Cayce Foundation and taking BQH and being open to all of this, I think maybe the normal regular QHT that Dolores created, I think it goes to the subconscious mind of the individual or the collective subconscious. And I think occasionally it hits the superconscious mind, but not all the time. And occasionally the collective superconsciousness. And Case, if your energy and your frequency is running at this level with all that reconnective energy work you do, which we have to talk about here, because I know people in our community would love to join in with your group reconnections. You could have gone into that at too high of a level to access something through QHT, which is trying to hit your subconscious mind. The mind that is awake but asleep. You don't know it's there, but it's awake. But if you're operating from a superconscious mind, you've put your subconscious to bed. You've gone, okay, enough of you. Go to sleep now. Don't need you.
Yeah.
So it could have been a mix mash of frequencies, basically.
I was super confused. For 2 or 3 days, I was really confused. I was just bummed out, too, because I really wanted to speak with my higher self. And
well, I'm going to offer you this. As soon as I finish my BQH, I want to experiment on you.
Do it.
I want to see if I can actually get to the level that you want to reach, that you you're there, you're talking to your higher self all the time, but maybe it has a slightly different personality, you know? Who knows what's going to come through?
I did have one friend, I thought about it for 2 or 3 days, and I had a friend, really awesome guy. He does these meditations where he just basically looks at people and they just break down and have these life-changing experiences. And I went in and he's like, hey man, how'd it go? And I was like, oh dude, not well, because it didn't work at all. And he was like, what do you mean? I go, I didn't do anything. He's like, well, of course you're not going to do anything. And I was like, what are you talking about? He goes, because you are your higher self. And I was like, even if that's bullshit, I'm going to take that.
You're going to take that as an answer.
Think about it anymore. So yeah, I just left it at that.
Well, the Theosophists, right? Madame Blavatsky and Alice Bailey and Rudolf Steiner. So if you read their stuff, they're trying to get people to start to connect to their soul so that their soul runs the show here. And your reconnections have already done that for you. You're already in contact with your soul all the time. Actually, almost everybody in our community here, they are too. You can tell by how they are and who they are that they're basically in touch with their higher selves, 90% of the time at least.
Yeah, that's a good number.
That's a good number. It allows for 10% while you're driving, and you can swear at other drivers, right?
It's funny though, because sometimes recently, I've lost the ability to do simple things like cook. And I don't know. It's really weird. It's like, yeah, I don't know. It's like my mind is so in a different place that yeah, I'm just like, I burn my kids' toast like every morning. Every morning I burn their toast.
Because it takes being present with the toaster so that you get it off at the right time.
I don't want to be present with the toaster. I guess that's it. I just don't want to be present.
I missed the love stream last night and I listened to it all day today. And Shane, I feel like I should have been there, but I was in a salt cave, a Himalayan salt cave, meditating with a dozen other people for this world higher frequency, raising the vibration of the entire planet, because it was new moon last night. Yeah. And I go out of there and she makes us drink peppermint water and do everything to come back and just be grounded. And I'm tootling along, driving my car. And one of these times I just stopped at a light with my lights on my car. And the guy just proceeded to bump right into me. And I'm like, why did you do that? I got out of the car. I'm like, why did you do that? You just bumped into me for no reason. And he's going, I didn't see you. You weren't there. I have no idea where you came from. So apparently I get so zoned out with the crystal bowls in the salt cave with 12 people oming with me and getting me there, that when I get in my car, I can make the whole car disappear for people.
That's cool.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, phasing in and out.
Awesome.
Yeah, phasing in and out.
That's wild.
I don't recommend it though. It's really annoying. Somebody just drives right into you for no reason, you know?
It's great for photo bombing though, right? Just pop in.
So yeah. Oh, tell us a little bit about your reconnection. So I'm doing, what's it called? It's not the advanced reconnections. It is I'm doing more reconnections than I've done with you before. I want to see you in person.
Is it the 8?
The personal reconnection?
I want to do a personal one, but I can't get to New York at the moment. But someday I'll see you in person. And then I did the group ones.
Someday I might just let go of that limited idea and start doing them through Skype. But
I know. I know. It'd just be so cool to see your molecular makeup as well, to see you in your atoms, you know?
I mean, that's the reason I don't do it right now, is because there is something about being with that person. I mean, when your fields are intermixing, there is something, there's something that, you know, and as I'm saying this, I'm like, really? Because
I guess there's something physical about it.
I guess so. I've done so many distant reconnection or distant healing sessions, which, you know, there's two processes. There's a session and then there's the reconnection. And so I really need to make some videos because I get the email like.
Just tell us the difference. Tell us the difference.
So the difference is, so during a session, it's like the practitioner starts, you're channeling these frequencies and you can feel these frequencies coming through you and you're just playing. And so the feeling in the hands and the body is more of like a Wi-Fi. And so you're like flooding the room. And so anybody that would be in that room or anybody that would be close to you would be attuning to these frequencies. But the reconnection, that's different. There's no playing and like at all. It's just an exact recipe. And the feeling is completely different. So it goes from like this kind of like broad Wi-Fi kind of feeling to like a focused beam of like, you can feel that beam. And so basically you just trace the person's meridian lines. You go over all their acupuncture, all their energy points, their major energy points, their chakras, and it's just a recipe. So it's kind of like tracing. I mean, there's no intuitive, no nothing.
What are you working with? The etheric, the astral, or something else? What energy of that person who's on the table are you working with? Do you know?
No, I'm just bombarding them with this frequency. I don't.
People have to see your videos. So we'll drop a link in the description and then just go through Case's videos and you'll see people on the table. And I was like, whoa, that's kind of cool. So their eyes start to flutter so fast that you couldn't possibly flutter your eyes that fast. And then the body starts contracting. They do these like impossible yoga moves, but it doesn't hurt them. It's
no,
not
no,
like,
no, it doesn't.
oh, I just did this move and now I can't walk for a week. You know, they just contract. Their body just goes, you know.
But if they do like 100 crunches, their stomach muscles might hurt afterward. You know, I mean, you do have that. It's so funny you're talking about money bags, because money bags has the strongest registers. Like,
you've done money bags. How cool.
They're off. I couldn't even film him because
I'd love to see it.
Like, people would think that
it's crazy.
Like, it's crazy. So
everybody's going to go see your videos just to see how the body responds to the frequencies you're hitting them with.
I would say that, I mean, it certainly doesn't happen to everybody. And I will say that there's definitely sessions that I give where people are like, oh yeah, you know, I didn't really feel much. So that happens too. So it's not like I can't override whatever, you know what I mean? Like you know, so here's a classic example was, what's today? Saturday?
Yeah.
Thursday or Friday, I had one of my my upgrade sessions. You know, that I started that new plan where people can get sessions. Oh, were you in it?
Yeah.
Did you do it last time?
Yeah. I'll tell you what happened to me. I've been saving it for the show. So carry on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I wanted to, because I was talking to Moneybags about his wife. His wife's having some health issues, and so I was like, you know, see if you can get her to lay down for the session. She doesn't need to. You don't have to lay down, but you're not really going to have the same experience. I mean, you could be at work, but you know, you're not going to start doing those things at work, because this is an intelligent, you know, healing. You know, it's not like you're going to be driving your car and, you know, you should
and then start.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So there's an intelligence with this healing. So, which goes to show you I'm not actually doing it, because it's on a different level.
You're facilitating it. You're bringing it in.
I really don't. I avoid taking any credit for anything. I think it's just the best place for me to stay. People always want to say, "Oh, man, I'm good." Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm good. Like, I don't,
you know, when people coming around to your house going, "Hello, my hero, my what is it, yogi, my yogi."
I think Jesus had it right when he said, "Your faith has made you whole." You know, he knew right away. That's that same approach, I think.
Yeah, I think that I just don't want to take myself seriously, because if I took myself like I was doing anything, then maybe I wouldn't be able to open the door as wide as I can now. You know what I mean? Like, I think people deal with that, because when your ego gets involved and you're like, oh, here's the thing is when your ego gets involved and you go, oh, I did this thing. Well, when that doesn't happen, then you're like, oh, what did I do wrong? So it's best just to stay out and just be like, if something really amazing happens, then cool. And if nothing happens, then, you know, I did my thing. I did the same thing I do every time.
Instead of judging yourself based on their reaction. Yeah. It's their reaction. Yeah.
So I just don't. I just kind of like, I just do my thing. I just go into my little zone.
So what is that? What is that exactly? What are you doing when you're bringing in those energies? Where are they coming from, and what are they? Do you know?
Well, I don't think anybody really knows. I do know that they're new to the planet. Well, they're not new to the universe, but they're new to us. And in I think it was 1992, Eric Pearl was the first person that started channeling these frequencies. And so he realized that when his patients, first of all, he went through the cycle of, you know, what's this? And the patients are like, I can feel you before you're touching me. And then they started having these crazy healings, like real healings. You know what I mean? Like getting out of wheelchairs and just cancers disappearing. And so, but then he realizes that the people that he was around, they would go home and their hands would start vibrating and people around them would have healings. So this frequency, as soon as you attune to it, you own it. You own it. You know how to tune into it. And in the beginning, it was really subtle in the beginning. And I would, you know, and the more I played with it, it got stronger and stronger. But now, yeah, I don't know if you've ever seen like a Cryon or the way in his channelings.
Yeah.
You know how they just instantly go into it?
Yeah.
They go into it so fast, you're like, really?
It's like, the same as Bashar and
exactly.
a few others like Ramtha and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just become so natural that I don't even know what I do, to be honest.
Okay, so here's a question. Do you think it's possible that since the Earth's magnetic shield has been getting more and more scattered and broken up since the 70s, right, to almost nothing, do you think that's allowing for these energies to come through? Or they're totally consciousness? They have nothing to do with physicality of cosmic waves hitting us, gamma waves hitting us.
No, I think that clearly has an effect on us, but that without a doubt, I believe.
Schumann resonance, all that stuff.
Absolutely. Something's up with that. But I tend to go back because you have all these ancient beliefs that we're all talking about this time of awakening.
Yeah.
All around the world, they're always talking about this time of awakening. So I'm believing that for some reason, I think that these frequencies were in this section of the galaxy, and the ancients knew that we would be entering this section of the galaxies, and that these frequencies were going to speed up our awakening.
Well, that follows the yugas. That's the Hindu yugas that sometimes David Wilcock talks about. We don't know a lot about it in the Western world because we're not Indian and we're not Hindu, but the Hindus have been following the yugas, right?
Yes.
Which are the times of sleeping and the times of awakening.
Yes.
And they're on 6,000, 3,000, and 12,000 year schedules, right?
Yeah, something like that.
For the whole precession of the equinox, which is a 26,000 year schedule. But if there's a binary sun, it gets condensed down to 24,000 years. And supposedly, if you follow all of that, we're like 70 years into the next yuga of awakening, coming out of sleeping. Yeah. And into the age of Aquarius.
I probably would have guessed like in the 60s, something started happening.
That's what they're saying. Yeah. It's awakening, and it ties in with moving from Pisces to Aquarius. The movement of the equinox. Planets getting hotter, planets getting brighter. Now people are telling me they're getting closer. You read those stories of, the moon is in our atmosphere. Really? Really? The moon is now in our atmosphere suddenly?
I haven't read that.
Yeah, look it up. You're going to be amazed.
That's a new one on me.
Me too. And it's out there. And I'm like, okay, so now I don't believe anything and I believe everything. So anything is possible and nothing is real. I'm good.
I do notice, and I just was talking to my wife about this. I do remember like these Eskimos that I remember reading this report in like 2012 where these Eskimos were saying the sun doesn't set where it used to set. I mean, like for generation after generation after generation, this is it, this is where it stopped and this is where it started receding. It's in a different place. And I believe that I have never seen the moon have the crescent where it looks like a smile until
the Cheshire Cat moon. Yeah, where it's just the smile instead of on the sides, it's now on the bottom. Yeah, that's a big change for me.
Those are observations, but one thing that I was talking to my wife about was my whole life, for some reason, I have been incredible with directions. Like I always knew what way I was facing. If somebody said when I was driving, I always knew even if I had to take a detour, I knew where I was going. I don't know what's happened. I am just clueless. Like I never know which direction I'm at. And I was thinking about like all these whales that are beaching themselves.
Yeah, and swans and bees and anything on a migratory path is all messed up now.
I feel like I've lost that ability to know where I'm at.
When do you feel like that started for you, Case? Because I've noticed that probably the last couple of years it's gotten worse.
I couldn't pinpoint it, but I know that it's completely opposite to the way I was.
But it's new to you, right? We're talking a year or two or even months or?
Yeah.
You guys think that's Schumann and magnetic shield, or do you think it's
I think it must be the
like Wi-Fi and 5G?
Because there's these cells that are tuned to the magnetic, within our brain. I forgot what they're called or whatever, but if our magnetics are all thrown off, I could totally see my internal compass being thrown off easily, or both of ours, Case. I think that's probably because I've always had that thing too, where you just kind of know which way you're facing.
You don't think that's Wi-Fi, like being bombarded by all these new human energies now? Bigger than that?
I don't think so, but I can't say.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't either. But let me tell you what happened. I joined your group session, which is just once a month. And then you give donations, so you can give what you afford. It's like a love offering, right? And I was laying there, noon. I laid down, closed my eyes, powered myself up like we do on this show. We do the Lynne McTaggart Power of 8 thing, and we do our own spin on it. And I was all ready. And then I couldn't believe it. And I thought, is this because I saw the videos? My left hand starts to shake. It starts doing this. And I'm like, whoa, why is that doing that? Oh, I know, because I saw the video. And then my right hand starts to shake, but the left hand stops. And the next thing I know, my stomach starts to shake. And I'm like, okay, now I know I'm not faking it. How the heck do you make your tummy vibrate? You can't. That was like an energetic thing. So I was like, okay, my eyes. Then I saw these incredible colors, but I'm a color person anyway in terms of seeing colors. And I came out of it and I felt great. But honestly, I felt like that night I had to sleep 10 hours. Yeah. I felt like, I don't know what I've done today, but I just need to sleep. Yeah. You know, and kind of like sleep was a big part of it. So then I did your upgrade for 8 sessions a month.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, what's it called? I clocked out or tipped out, whatever the Monroe Institute says with Sherry and SMQ.
Clicked out, yeah.
I clicked out. I was there. I was ready to go with Case. I was wide awake. I went into a meditative state, you know, relaxed. And I connected with these other people. I don't know how many of us there are. Mm-hmm. And within 5 minutes, I was gone. Gone. I didn't remember a thing. I didn't see a thing. I was so far gone. And then 10 minutes before the hour finishes, I go bing and open my eyes and I'm like, what's going on? Where am I? What happened? And I look at my clock and I'm like, oh, he's still doing it. Okay, 10 more minutes.
Yeah. It's so funny because even if you, like, every session will be different. I'm doing exactly the same thing, but every session is different. Have
you heard of people going out, just disappearing for that hour?
Oh, yeah.
And then they just wake up and they're like, okay, I hope it was good. Might have been.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And sometimes you'll feel like super energized, like just ready to do anything. And other times you feel like I got to lay down. Like,
need to sleep.
Like it's just always different. And back to the money bags thing. So in that last one that you're probably talking about, I told Moneybags, I was like, hey, man, why don't you see if your wife will lay down for this session? And I said, why don't you just do it too? Because, you know, and I said, but you shouldn't be in the room with her because you're going to freak her out because the way he responds, dude, you know, it's a lot, you know. And so he went in a different room. And so I said, make sure you let me know. And so his wife felt absolutely nothing, like zero, like nothing. So while she's laying there feeling nothing, Moneybags is in the next room, just like
doing yoga gymnastics, right? It's almost epileptic. It is. It's really energetic. That is amazing.
I don't know why I don't know why some people don't feel it. I mean, it's so strong to me that I don't know why somebody doesn't feel it.
Will they heal if they don't feel it? Will they get the same benefits, or do they have to feel it to heal?
I believe that the sensations are meaningless. I really do. Like it's what happens after. Because if you have a really cool experience, but you don't start noticing any changes in your life, well, that's not it. You know what I mean? Right. I almost didn't post those videos with people having those strong registers because first
I'm glad
of all,
you did.
I want people to expect that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And actually, do people really want to do that? Like, I don't
know. I'm glad you posted them because it showed me what is possible. It showed me how people can react to these energies. So I didn't do any like metaphysical yoga to your connection. But my tummy was fluttering and I'm not a belly dancer. So I'm like, how are you doing that? It was literally jumping up and down all by itself. So then I felt like, yes, you know, and then, you know, I'm in it because I can feel it. And it's almost like seeing it makes you go deeper.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. You own it more. Yeah. Like, yeah. And I think that's what happened to these frequencies with me, because, you know, I had been on this path for, I don't know. I don't even know. Maybe like this spiritual path for probably like, I don't know, 10 years. And it's one thing to believe we're all connected, or to, you know, we're all made of energy. But when something in life happens to you, you quickly get popped out of that. And you're like, okay, like my car just broke down. I don't have time to be thinking that we're all connected, and we're, you know what I mean? Like, I got stuff going on. I gotta fix stuff. But ever since I started feeling these frequencies, how can I not know at all times that? So what's happened is, when things come up in my life that would have thrown me out of my game, you know, for a week or 2 weeks or a month, now it's just like a moment. And then all of a sudden I realize, this is not important at all. This will all get worked out. You know, there's a reason this is happening. I might not be intelligent enough to understand that now. This ease came into my life that is priceless. And I don't know. And there was I think also when this happened to me, I just let go of the reins of controlling my life. And I always followed my instinct, but I started really following my instinct. And man, there's something to letting go and just trusting yourself.
It's liberating. That's what I always talk about, that whole liberated feeling that you have, where it's like, wow, I made it this far and I had no idea what I was doing.
Yes,
I'm going to just
exactly.
I'm going to just trust that everything's handled. I'm not going to worry about it, because I tried to help it before, and all I can see is that I hurt the process. So let me just stay out of the way and enjoy the ride.
You're so there. I couldn't imagine if he reconnected you that you would get more there. You know what I mean? Because you're just like so chill about.
Well, a lot of that came since I got the distance thing with him. Like, my hands vibrate all the time. I've come to this realization that he's talking about. That's all since then, you know.
Really?
I think
you would have found it without me, bro. You would have.
But it's another tool, you know.
Yes,
like BQH didn't work for you, or QHHT didn't work for you, but I've seen it do wonders for other people. I think you know, they're all just tools, you know. You can always just reach for the hammer, you know.
Yeah.
But the effect you have on people, Shane, is very contagious. To be relaxed and comfortable and accepting and peaceful and forgiving and loving. You have that.
I have Case to thank for that, man.
Well,
Before I was even. He was my person with the Mandela effect that made me think, wait a minute, this is a cool thing? What's going on? So,
this is okay. This is okay.
I paid it forward from Case, to be completely honest with you. Yeah.
Dude, the first video I saw of yours, I just knew you. Like, I just knew, I loved you right off the bat from the first minute. And I just, like, it was just, I love meeting my family from the stars. It's very cool.
Yes, that's what people in this community say all the time. I can't see the chat.
I totally understand that.
I always go back, and they're such family. Like, there's so much love in the chat room, you know, whether they're paying attention or not. They get their own little things going in there, and I'm like,
totally.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Just nice to be able to hang out with people and not be thought of as crazy, or to know everyone's crazy.
Or everybody's crazy, yeah. Yeah.
That's good. I really need this. I need to be more relaxed and more chill. I need to be more Shane, you know?
I get so many people. When I get emails, I get like real emails. I get like emails where people tell me stuff that they've never told anybody else. And man, I think the most important thing is just like lighten up. Like lighten up on yourself. Like, people are so hard on themselves that I go back to that Abraham thing. Our natural state of being is up here.
Being.
And the more we get on ourselves, we're just pushing our cork down. And sometimes when you just let go, your cork just goes to the top, and then you're balanced, and you're, you know.
Last thing Cynthia Sue said on our show, and she's coming back in a couple of weeks, was that there is evidence, you know, physics, quantum physics, that the universe is a place of well-being. And I can't wait till she explains that and shares that evidence with us, because a lot of people don't see how they create their own angst. Or maybe their parents were putting them down, or their colleagues or their friends. So maybe they're carrying that forward.
Yeah, they absolutely are.
Yeah.
That's 100% a fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, letting people define you when you're little, and then you carry that forward when that isn't who you are.
That's just, absolutely. You're carrying somebody else's shit, and
that's what life's all about, is letting go of all that baggage.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you let go of it, you will float to the top, because that's our natural state.
That's our natural state.
Great. It feels great too. I mean, you're kind of nervous and scared about the let go of, say, the religion of, the last 5 generations of your family, and you feel like you're abandoning something. You know what I'm saying? You got all this pressure that you don't even realize. Why are you carrying that pressure around? I was doing so many things because it was expected of me, rather than because it was my truth. And when I got beyond and tried to answer those questions, and I wasn't getting the answers that resonated with what I'd been taught, then I had to look beyond that.
Dude, I think that's like 99% of everybody's problems is what you just said.
Yeah. Like
literally, you're doing things for other people. You're trying to impress other people that you don't even like. It's like
And when we come here, and I believe in reincarnation, but not necessarily all to Earth. Maybe you could be reincarnated elsewhere eventually. All these systems have been put in place before you arrive, and you're like trying to figure out, well, how can I fit myself into the education system and the family system and the medicine system and, the media system. You're constantly looking at things and seeing how you can fit in. And our community, the rebels, the metaphysical rebels, are like, nah, I'm not even going to try anymore. No, I don't care. Go do your own thing. Leave me out of it. We're like, we don't fit in, and we're really happy about that, about not fitting into some of the systems that are so oppressive, or negative or not healthy.
Yeah.
And probably the biggest thing that Case and I were talking about right before we went live was how we limit ourselves by all of these different worldviews, and things must happen this way. And part of the journey is just realizing that all the limitations we have to face are put on there by ourselves or from someone else, and we've just placed it on there. But those limitations are really in your mind. I mean, once you can push beyond that and realize the possibilities of anything, I mean, you can't be stopped.
Yeah.
I don't know. It sounds like the next generation already got that pass that we didn't get. And they're like, you're like, okay, you got to get up at 8. You got to get to school. Well, why? I'm like, because you have to, they already get it.
I know. Like, I see people talking about the millennials, and I'm just like, dude, the millennials are all over it. Like, who wants to go do that? Those corporate jobs, like they're not going to. And I remember I watched a video, and it was like talking about millennials, and like, oh, they feel like they're special. And I'm like, yeah, well, we all are very special. And it's like, oh, they don't want to do that. They want to do something that means something. And I'm like, yeah, well, who doesn't? You know what I mean? I
was reading that. Like, they're not willing to do prep work to earn their position. They need to sweep the floors and file and make the copies. And they're like, no, I'm not going there. I'm not doing that. It's too boring. Yeah. And our generation is like, well, you have to.
Yeah. I think if they chose that job, so say their excitement would be baking. Well, then, you would start at the ground level at a bakery, and you would move your way up, and you would learn. But they're not doing what excites them. They're doing what will make money to buy stuff. That's not going to work anymore. Like,
I hope not.
Yeah, I think that's over.
I just see money still like, you have to have the money to create the technology, and then you use the technology for what? To oppress others to make more money. It's like, the people who aren't grabbing for money, for material wealth, aren't in charge of the collective, and they're not in charge of the new technologies. Yeah. So then we're like, oh dear, this could be used to hurt the masses. Yeah. Well, of course, because the people who got the money to create it weren't exactly altruistic. before they developed the technology. So I'm like, you know, somehow we got to flip that around so that the altruistic people are setting up governments if we need one, setting up medicine if we need that, or education if we need that. But they have to come from the place of altruism first, not from greed.
Yeah. My whole attitude about money has changed so much.
Tell us about it. Tell us about it. Because our community tends to, like, you know, be on the fence about money. Like, you know, we've been taught that money's a bad thing, so we don't go after it.
Well, I remember, I don't know where I got this. I literally have no idea where I got this concept, probably from my mom. But I would literally say to the universe, I don't care if I end up being a welder living in a trailer in Arizona, I'm going to be happy. That is literally, I'm not a welder. I never lived, you know what I mean? Like, but for some reason, that's what I would say. I don't know where I picked that up from. And so I lived my life like that for a long time. And I never had any money. And I even invented probably one of the greatest golf products that was ever invented. It's the simplest golf product. And I was approached within like 6 months by the largest golf distributor of products. They're in every store around the world. And I made, in every one of my businesses, I made the worst possible decisions in every one of them. I mean, I should have been retired 10 years ago. But I never cared about money. And so I made the worst decisions. And then I think it was like in 2007, I started switching that. And I was like, wait a second. There's nothing wrong with money. There's absolutely nothing wrong with money. And so I started putting out different things into the universe. And my life shifted so rapidly into, not rich, but into a state where if my car breaks down, I don't care. I'll go get it fixed. You know what I mean? If $1,000 bill comes up, or I don't care. I'll just take care of it. Man, you can help more people in that state of being than you can when you're struggling. I don't care what anybody says. There is nothing wrong with money.
Absolutely.
If I had a ton of money, I would help out so many people. I love giving money away. I love helping people out. You can help more people out with money than you can with no money. That's a fact.
Yeah, don't you feel like we've been trained to not, like, you know, remember, God will love you more and you'll go to heaven if you're poor. And, you know, who's telling you that? The rich bishops and the rich pope and the rich everybody is telling you to, like, God will love you more if you don't have it. So it's kind of ingrained in our DNA. It's been put into us.
If people think that Jesus walked around in raggedy, dirty robes and stuff and ate terrible food, I don't think that's what happened. He was taken care of. He was, you know what I mean? Like, I think that, I think we have a really warped sense of money. And,
but doesn't it help if you have a small elite with a great deal of wealth to tell the billions of people, no, you don't want this. You don't want this, because then you'll probably get help. You know, it seems almost like it's just a mechanism of the
absolutely. And so now we're on the opposite end of that, and we're thinking like, hey, like, we're so materialistic in this country. It's just insane, especially coming from the Yucatan, where I had people across the street that didn't have a door on their home and probably live off of $50 a month. And they're so happy, and they just walk around with a big smile on their face. And I was always, I mean, these people had nothing, and they were so kind and so giving and so friendly. And then I come back to America, and it's just like, wow, I don't know.
I felt the same way, because I grew up in Cairo, and we would go to the City of the Dead, which is huge, you know, like the size of, you know, New York or something, New York City or the state, you know, and all these people would be living in there without sanitation, without lights, because they couldn't afford a house. And my God, they would, like, be happy. They would be appreciative. They would be sharing. We'd bring food in. You know, it was a different kind of world. Yep. But then when I get back home and then I read the statistics that the way we live here, only 25% of the world lives this way, where you turn on a tap and clean water comes out. Yep. So in my mind, I want to see the whole world having clean water and healthy food and clean air, you know, and unfortunately that seems to go with materialism. Lots of cars, lots of diamond rings.
Then
and
maybe
you know,
you should shift that. Maybe you should shift it to everybody. You want to see everybody happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously,
go to the end game. The end goal.
Without. Yeah.
True.
I will say that, yesterday I got my utility bill for this place, and it was $700 for 1 month.
Electricity?
Electricity. And I was like, it's kind of short-circuited my brain. I was like, how's that possible? Like,
get the candle
even warm in here. You know, it's like, I walk around, I got 2 sweatshirts on right now. You know what I mean? Like 700. What happened? So I'm still adjusting.
That's crazy. That is a big
crazy
bill. You know, that is the light the fire behind you and hand everybody a candle. You know, it's like we'll have light for 2 hours a night.
Yeah, I'm going to make a phone call about that because I don't know, something's wrong. I think I'm feeding all my neighbors or something.
It happens. I have an apartment, and the water bill is $35 to $50 a month for 6 years or 5.5 years, and then suddenly in January and February it's $100. And I'm calling them up, and they're going, "We don't know." And I said, "Well, I'm not doing anything different." And then I find out it happened to everybody in a 200 apartment complex, and I'm like, well, this is fraud. This is like water stealing. Where's my water going? Who's getting my water? And they said, look, you're not our customer. Your complex is, but you have to pay your bill. And I'm like, what kind of a response is that? You know, like, we don't have to take your complaint, but you better pay us or we're going to cut your water off. I'm like, crazy, crazy.
Yeah. So I guess when you're in America, you just got to make more money. That's it.
I mean, a lot of us would like to see a system where it's not on money. And I don't think we necessarily want to go back to barter and trade where I have to go make candles to give to you so you can turn your lights off.
Yeah. It should be interesting to see what happens, because I absolutely believe, and I hope I'm wrong, but something's going to happen soon. Like, I just...
You think barter and trade will come back? I mean, what could replace the
I would like to see people paid for what they're worth. And when a CEO of a company makes 450 times what his employee makes, I don't know. I think we're just so like my mom and dad were both teachers, and I was just reading today or yesterday an article on how you can't even live.
No,
right? You can't live being a teacher. So,
and you know, teachers are an important thing. I mean, you know, that's the sad thing, is that we underpay the most important people in our society, and we overpay the least important people in our society. Yeah.
So it'd be nice if we're paid what we're worth. But I don't know.
I don't know. In Europe, they're talking about this. I don't know what it's called. It's like the standard income. See, basically what they're saying is they're going to replace us all with robots. So nobody will be able to work at a cash register anymore or produce food anymore. Therefore, anybody who's left here will have to be given a standard yearly income. It'll be like, I don't know. I just can't see that working. I don't know where we're going next, but it's got to be away from greedy what do they call it? A corptocracy or something like that. We got to get away from the greed mongering.
Yeah. It's and the funny thing is like, you know, you think, well, you know, we got to pay the teachers better because the teachers are, you know, educating our kids. And then you're like, well, but the school system sucks.
Yeah.
So, like, you know what I mean? It's just like this endless hole of bullshit. You're like, what's going on?
And it's like school hasn't evolved with the students, because more and more you're seeing these students that it's just too boring. They can't, then they get behind or whatever, you know, and it's just not, it's designed for a certain type of learner, I think. I know as a visual learner, I didn't do too good. I always bored and ADHD and all that
terrible
stuff.
grades.
It's not designed for creativity. I've met a bunch of teachers here who quit because it was so hard to work in. Yeah, they said, I cannot work. They hand you the curriculum, and then you're supposed to force that into kids' brains, and there's no creative process, so they just quit. Good teachers said, nah, I'm not doing that. I can't do that.
Yeah. It's funny because when I homeschool my kids, well, actually, it's mostly my wife. I probably do like a quarter of the homeschooling. My wife really takes over that. But I really don't know where they're at until we get around other kids, and then we do like we were in Colorado, and their kids are exactly the same age, and so my wife is homeschooling our kids, and the other kids are in the room, and they're like, "What are you guys learning?" Like so in school, you got to keep everybody at the same level.
Right.
You can't have somebody like 10 years ahead.
Go ahead or behind.
Yeah. So the smart kids probably feel bored out of their mind, and I don't know. I'm really happy with homeschooling, but I realize that that's not an option for everybody.
My sister homeschooled her boys. They did really well. I homeschooled my daughter for a year, and then she wanted to go back in to socialize. And then her senior year, she and her boyfriend took themselves out, and they still got to graduate with the class because just the last year. And they loved homeschooling senior year.
Nice. Yeah, that's and all of that stuff is meaningless when you grow up. Like all that stuff.
I know, but I'm at a point now going, well, what is meaningful then? And I've really gotten to the point where I love this work that we're doing and connecting on YouTube, and the book that we've written that eventually will get. I'm getting it back out to you. I swear to God, I got stalled for a month, but anyway, I just then look at my daughter, and my husband passed away when she was 6 years old, and I'm like, that's what's meaningful to me. That person in my life, and our two little rugrat puppies, and her boyfriend and her friends, that's what is meaningful to me. So now I'm getting away from the electronics a little bit more and spending more time in base reality, where the atoms are.
Yeah. I've been spending a lot of time in base reality lately too.
Feels good, doesn't it?
Yeah. I kind of was forced to because, we moved, and I moved to this place that obviously needs way more upgrades than I anticipated. So I've just been dealing with, cleaning, ripping out carpets, and, just normal, just like stuff. And I've enjoyed it immensely, actually.
I didn't know that you were a construction guy, but from your videos, you had to get into it because this beautiful house you've got with, 15-foot windows, 20-foot windows, the great outdoors around you. It was a real pile, wasn't it, when you got in there? It
was. I actually used to have I had a renovation business in New York City when I was, when I moved to New York City when I was 28 to be an artist, but I didn't realize at the time that you don't make money as an artist. So
dead. Ask Van Gogh or Van Gogh. He made plenty after he died.
So I learned my skills in New York City doing that. But yeah, I enjoy renovating. I enjoy turning a place that, it's very rewarding.
Or maybe it was important to get your hands in again and rip stuff out and build with your hands, I'm far too cerebral, I just got to sometimes bring myself back down to earth.
I like cutting my grass. I like the look of it. There's like this feeling of like, wow, it looks good.
Yeah, for 2 weeks. It's done then. Doesn't last.
Yeah. I'm about to have to cut mine for the first time of the season. I wasn't looking forward to it though, but hey.
Is that early?
Thanks for giving me a positive insight into.
Is this supposed to be like a spiritual show? Where you?
It is. This is it. This is what we do.
Yeah, our spiritual chores of mowing the yard and meditating. Yeah,
we talk about anything here. Anything goes.
So, did we have a topic for our meditation tonight?
Well, April sent us one. Thank you, April. I'm going to hold that one off for a week. And in honor of having Case here, I hope everybody goes, if you don't already know him from his videos, check out his channel, subscribe, and join in on those group reconnections and see how you feel by doing them.
Let's do one right now during the meditation.
Yeah?
Are we going to meditate?
Well, this is what's weird is like, okay, so the way Lynne McTaggart does it with the Power of 8, which brought us together, we did this book review, and then people bought the book and said, okay, we're ready. Yeah. And we've changed it. I talk them through a meditation. We don't just sit there silently holding the same thought together. But a reconnection is a real powerful energy thing. Can you do that for us now, live, without me saying anything?
Oh, sure.
Or should I say something? Well, you tell me.
Whatever. If you want to say something, then you just talk, and then I'll give everybody else a session except for you.
Oh, no way. No, I'm not quiet. Okay, that got me to shut up.
No, it's cool. I mean, I'll be seeing you, what, the 9th or something like that? Yeah.
Yeah, but what do you want to do tonight? Because this group loves meeting in the out there.
Okay, so typically we'll kill the camera and she'll do her meditation, and we'll all just join in with it. So if you wanted to, you know, do something simultaneously with the people here in this group,
sounds good.
You know,
yeah,
and then we can kill the cameras, and because we don't need to see you to do it. But.
No.
Should I be silent through it so that you have more power and more energy coming our way? Do we just do like 5 minutes of silence?
Whatever you want.
I don't know. What do you think, Shane?
Why don't we do like maybe like a connecting meditation, and then leave it into, I don't know. Like,
okay, I'm going to do that.
How big of a window do we need? Like 10 minutes or something?
How much time? 5 or 10 minutes after? Case.
Oh, whatever. Yeah, it doesn't matter to me.
Only the limitations we put on it, guys.
Yeah.
You are guinea pigs tonight, as usual. I'm going to do like a 5-minute powering up, which is my, normal meditation, and kind of get us all into the zone. And then I'm just going to go silent and let the energies that Case is giving us as a group reconnect us. And I think the reconnection is to our own soul, to our own higher self. So I'll do the
pioneering spirit of this all. I love this.
Yeah.
Stuff.
This is a great experiment. I hope it works. And if it does, you're going to have to come back.
Okay.
So we can do it again.
I got Wi-Fi now, man. I can do this all the time now.
We know it's going to work. It's how well is it going to work? So I guess we'll see. Kill my camera and get ready.
We experiment a lot here. We try all kinds of different meditations, don't we? Yeah. So I'm going to go.
Turn my camera off?
Yeah, we all do, because I don't want people to see me with my eyes closed. You never know. I might have my nose in the camera.
Your camera went off and back on, Case.
So first I will take off my video.
Yeah.
And then Case, you're going to want to take off. You can leave your video on if you like.
Nope.
It's up to you.
There you go. It's still on, just so you know. It turned off and back on.
I think you have to tell them how
There we go. There we go.
There we go. Okay, so we wing it here. We're wingers. Okay, so everybody just get comfortable, take a drink of water, kind of scooch around in your chair or standing. I know one person, Go-Kart, likes to stand while he meditates. If I did it, I'd fall over for sure. And in honor of having Case and Everyday Masters here tonight, which was so much fun, I'm going to do Powering Up our usual way. And then I'm just going to do a short reconnecting to our higher selves meditation. And then I'm going to go silent for about 5 minutes. I'll set the timer so I can bring us back out after about 5 minutes.
I'm just going to start now. Is that cool?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Go for it. So everybody take a nice, deep, relaxing breath in. And hold it for just a moment. And exhale completely. Let all the air out. And take another deep, full breath in. Let your tummy extend. Hold it for a moment. And this time on the exhale, let out any tension anywhere in your body. And then finally take a third deep, relaxing breath in. Hold it. And now exhale out any tension or negativity that you felt during the day around you. And now we're going to start breathing in through our heart chakra or our heart center, and exhale back out of the heart center. And breathe in through your heart chakra at a pace that suits you, and exhale back out. And this time on the in-breath through your heart, start to breathe in love, and exhale forgiveness. And this time on the in-breath through your heart chakra, breathe in forgiveness. And when you're ready, exhale love. And continue to breathe gently in and out of your heart center. And this time, you're going to add a color, any color you choose, or no color at all, or all of the colors like a rainbow. You're going to breathe that color in through your heart center and exhale the color back out. And as you breathe in this clear, clean, healing color, let it start to fill up the inside of your body, from the top of your head, down your neck, across your shoulders, down your arms. Let it go all the way into your fingertips. And as that color is filling you up, everything that it touches relaxes. Now it's going through your abdomen, your chest, your abdomen, your lower body, down to your thighs, down your legs. Let it go into your feet and out your toes. Breathing this color in and exhaling the color out. And now, as you breathe in through your heart center, this beautiful, clear, clean, healing color, let it fill a bubble of light around you. Let it go over your head, across your back, in front of your tummy. Let it go under your feet. So you are in a protective, beautiful, clear, clean, healing bubble of light of your own making. And now shoot a grounding cord down from your root chakra, which is red at the base of your spine. And let that grounding cord go down, 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 as far as possible through all the different layers of the earth. See it going down through them all until it reaches the core, the heart, the center of the earth, where it spreads out in all directions like the roots of a tree. And now the last thing we're going to do is we're going to imagine in your mind's eye doing something that you absolutely love doing. Picture doing something that brings you complete joy, something you're doing on your own or with other people. It could be something out in nature, or it could be something in your house or at work or with your family. Just picture that. What does it look like? What does it sound like? What colors can you see? What can you hear? And most importantly of all, what does it feel like? And now we're just going to go silent for about 7 minutes. And we're going to allow ourselves in that time to connect with our own higher self. Request it, expect it, command it if you like. We are just asking right now, in this moment here, now, to connect with our own higher selves for guidance that will stay with us always. Once we make that connection and we reach our higher selves, we're going to do that more often. We're going to do it constantly so that we always have that connection for guidance and love and forgiveness from our own higher selves. Okay, so now it's time to come back into your base reality of humanity on Earth in the 21st century. So start to wiggle around, move your arms, your ankles, your feet, your bottom, stretch your neck, take some deep breaths, and come back.
All right. And we are back.
Wow.
So that's cool. I've gotten the vibrating before. In fact, ever since I went through that first healing thing, I've had the vibrating, but I actually got the waves of heat that went over my hands too.
I got the vibrating hands, and I got the heat. I got hot palms. Anybody else? I also got tummy jiggles, and then chest. My chest started jiggling, like the heart energy was all like buzzing, like sticking your finger in the socket.
Very cool. Yeah, and I got like muscle twitching, and you know, the first time that I did the session with Case over, it wasn't even over the internet. It was, we just set up a time basically and did it, and I was laying there in this meditative state, and I completely forgot about it. Like right after the session, it was like only later that I realized I went to the halls of a Menti, like in my mind. Do you remember me talking? I did a video about it.
I hear that.
Yeah, and that was so weird because I was like, wait a minute, was that a dream or what? It was like, because I completely forgot about that until later. I'm like, wait a minute, man. I was like, I went somewhere for a moment. You know,
it's so funny because usually when I was before I become mostly distance sessions now, it's like 70-30, and in person I'm always like, when I'm done, I'm like, okay, you know, what did you experience? And I used to write it down. I'm not sure why I would write it down, but I would write everybody's notes down. And then they would tell me, and then I would get these phone calls like, I forgot to tell you, I left my body. And I'm like, oh, you just forgot to tell me that you left your body. Okay. That's okay. So,
yeah, it seems crazy, but it was like, man, it was like, because I was just so focused on what I was experiencing while I was laying down and stuff that I forgot that I went somewhere else in my mind during the session and like came back. And yeah, I could totally, I wouldn't have understood that unless I experienced it. So I'm glad I did.
Usually
like,
it's
did you forget
that? Right? You did it for an hour, didn't you, Shane?
I think ours was, I think we did a 30-minute session.
Yeah, I don't even know why I do it for an hour because it doesn't. It doesn't need to be an hour, but I just do it for an hour just because I don't know. I really don't. It should be like 15 minutes, but
this was really short. This was only like 7 minutes of silence and 5 minutes of getting into a deep state. So this is probably shorter than what you're used to, right, Case?
Well, usually, I mean, I've given. I'll give somebody like because I do have like a little 30-minute, we talk for 15 minutes and then I give a 15-minute session. And I've had so many people get back to me afterwards and tell me that it lasted an hour and a half or 2 hours. And I'm thinking to myself, really? Because I'm out with my kids playing and I'm doing stuff. So what I think is happening is there's this frequency and the science has proven that it's literally reconnecting our DNA. It's repairing our DNA. And I believe our DNA is how we interface with the field and how we interface with our higher self. Mm-hmm. And so as soon as I tune you into this, I'm not like, the reason people have sessions for 2 hours is because that's their energy. I tune them in and then they're just rocking their own thing. So
it's almost like you plug in a vacuum cleaner for somebody and they go on their way and they're vacuuming, but you just plugged it in. And
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I felt different this time.
It'll feel different every time.
You know, this is different to our usual Saturday night meditation.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool.
But it's cool. Yeah, I totally dug it.
Yeah, me too. And I'm wondering if we should like do more silence in our meditations, which is what the intention group does with Lynne McTaggart anyway. And we tend to stick more to meditative voice, keeping it going. You know, maybe we need to add more silence to it where we can go places.
Yeah.
I would say.
What did you feel, Case, with this group? Because this is an incredibly artistic group. We've got a lot of painters and singers and songwriters, dancers, and this is a healing group. We've got Reiki masters, nurses, doctors, right?
Yeah.
It always feels the same to me. I just go into my little world, and all I'm doing is I'm completely present, and I'm feeling all the different subtle changes, and I'm just playing. So like if I'm with the person in a session, it always feels the same to me, but I will get feelings about them. Like not like the feeling isn't really like every once in a while it'll be so strong that I feel like it wouldn't surprise me if my hands were bleeding. Like so sometimes it's stronger than others, but every once in a while I'll just get like not like I'm actually a psychic and getting information about them, but I'll have this undeniable thing that I'm going to ask them as they're walking out about something in their life. So it feels the same, but with different people, I'll get like something happens and I just know that I'm supposed to talk about something to them. I don't even know why I brought that up, but it usually
like a little intuitive hit though.
Yeah, like a hit of,
yeah.
You know, some people, like, they come in and it's health or it's relationships or it's money or there's a great fear that they don't want to talk about. And maybe you're getting hits on what's blocking their energy.
Yeah, I think that's it. I mean,
that could probably be any time too. Yeah,
I think I just do that naturally. I don't know why I do it. I think I just came to this planet wired to do that. Most people in this are empathic and, you know, we can read people and we can, you know, there's nothing special about it. You know, it's just we're waking, these gifts are getting stronger and stronger. And so, yeah, yeah.
This group here sometimes expresses that they felt a lot of pain until they connected here, because then they suddenly felt like, oh my God, there's more people like me and I'm being accepted here and I feel love here and I've got true understanding and friendship. So it's a lot of like wounded light warriors who have been giving and giving and loving and cleaning up this planet all around them. And now suddenly they've got a place to go to get cleaned, to get healed, to be loved.
And you know, the people that I talk to, I usually want to know about them. So I'll ask them, I will talk, tell them a little bit about, you know, whatever's happening. But I always ask them about themselves. And one of the questions I always ask is, so do you have anybody you can talk to about this? And 99% of them don't. It's the most common theme of everybody.
Doesn't it seem on purpose though? After you see this over and over again, Case, don't you think it's on purpose that we're all spread out like we are?
You know, I don't know who I heard this from, but it said, of course you're spread out because you're lighthouses. Have you ever seen two lighthouses side by side? And I was like, oh.
Never.
No, that doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
But I will say that I feel so blessed that my wife and my kids are on the same page. And so I kind of take it for granted that my partner in life is on the same page with me. So I kind of live in a bubble world a little bit.
I did that with my husband and now with my daughter. I have that, you know, at least I can talk about any of this stuff to her. And still to my husband who's on the other side. He gets an earful now and then.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I saw a medium last weekend, or was it the weekend before? And he's like kind of known in Ohio, and he comes down to Florida to a friend's house. And anytime he comes, you know, my husband's always there standing in line going, I've got
nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I've seen people in that group just break down and cry when this man just sits there and says something. And first he just sees what they look like and what their mannerisms are like. And people are afraid to put their hand up and go, yeah, that's my Uncle Joe, or, you know, and then suddenly he'll say something where they have to put their hand up. And then the message is so warm and so loving. And the fact that they've reconnected with somebody they love on the other side, they just burst into tears. It's like this,
awesome.
you know, well of like the dam has been broken. And
I love
all
tears.
that energy. Yeah.
I've always
That reminds me of that Death Walker video you did with the guy that was like his thing to help people transition over. Man, that was such a powerful video.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, we need more Death Walkers, don't we? We need people to help people transition.
Yeah,
that was a cool video.
I think he nailed it when he said that. You know, because he said the second he, you know, started floating his hands over his mother or his grandma. I'm sorry. She just passed instantly. Yeah. And I was like, wow, I'm sorry to hear that. And he's like, oh no. He goes, it was the most loving. He goes, it was like, he described it as, he felt like when she had one foot in this world and one foot in the other world, there was a portal that opened up, and the amount of love that came flooding into that room, he felt like he had it was like when you give birth and you see your child.
You just cry.
That was the level of love. And that's just one of those thousands of stories where you're like, this is real. Like this shift, this awakening, this volunteering, this we came here to hold this light and to shift and another thing that he talked about was he could feel instantly that the reason she hadn't transitioned was because she was afraid. And the second he brought these frequencies in, he could feel her fear left. She remembered home, and she just said, later, I'm going home.
Oh, that's powerful.
And, so it was and and I've only done that one time, and it was actually with my mother. And she passed away on my birthday.
Whoa.
And so I was with her, and it was so profound. You know, it's funny, you know, we have these beliefs and we walk around with them and we just know they're real, and they're not. Like I had this belief that, you know, when your parents die, you're going to be super sad. You're going to be, you know, it's going to be devastating to you. And for some reason, I just always believed that when my parents passed away, it was going to be this incredibly devastating experience. It was one of the most joyful experiences I could have ever imagined. It was incredible.
I believe it because, well, being Irish, we have wakes where you get drunk and celebrate the person's life. So we're like, yeah, come on, party time. And when my husband passed, we had a celebration of his life, and it was his daughter was 6 years old, and she had all her friends there, and the neighbors were between the ages of 2 and 12. So we wore bright colors and purples and blues and yellows, and we had a picture of them, and we had testimonials. And then at the end, every child picked up a white carnation and laid it in front of his picture. And that's when the tears came. Like, oh my God. But it was such a beautiful experience to celebrate his life instead of mourning his death. Yeah. So I'm all for that.
I did the exact same. My mom said, cremate me and throw a party. And exactly what you said, that's exactly what we did. And the funny thing is when I went to go meet with the guy who was handling her, you know, the funeral part of the cremation and everything. When I went to meet him, there was a funeral going on, and it was so just, that frequency was so low and so sad. Yeah. And then at my mom's party, just like exactly what you said, everybody's laughing and telling stories. And
well, when my mom died, my sister came to Florida and helped me, you know, get her transitioned. Yeah. Right. And we were by her side the whole time. I was actually with her when she took her last breath. And of course, it's sad when you know that they're gone, but there was this okayness about it, because when they're old and they're in pain and they're not thriving anymore, it's almost like, oh, now everything's okay again. And so we had her cremated, brought her back to her home. And she said she wanted her ashes thrown in her man-made lake. So I'm laughing, talking to her lawyer in the building, selling her condo. I'm going, you know, my mom's going in the lake, and that's illegal. And he said, do you know how many residents from this building are in that lake right now as we speak? So we all get into paddle boats. That's the only way you can get into the lake. So we're paddling, and I'm like, no, you do it, Leslie. So Leslie grabs the bag, and she goes to throw my mother unceremoniously, because we don't want to get caught. We're doing this the whole time, into the lake, and misses. And now it's all over the paddle boat. We're like, oh my God. And we're dusting it off with our hands and blowing it and kicking it. Mom's on the paddle boat. Yep.
Yeah. That's awesome. She's laughing her ass
It was
off.
awesome. It was so funny.
That's awesome.
One final laugh. Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah, I took Mom on a paddle boat for her last ride into the lake.
That's cool.
Well, we got to do this more often now that you got good internet, man.
Yeah, I'm good to go, man. It's been a long time since I've done one of these, so I always love seeing you guys. And I'm so glad I'm able to put a face to a name in my upgrade group now.
Yay!
Because really, I don't know anybody, so I'm just, but now.
I saw some cool emails coming through, and I'm like, I want to get to know them. Is there like 12 of us or 20 of us? I mean, it just sounded.
Yeah, it's growing each day. Do you know that one lady that sent that email?
Yeah.
That was kind of shocking to me, actually, because.
How'd she get it? How'd she get all of our names?
I guess I made the mistake of sending one out and it went to everybody. So
cool.
When I got that email, I was like, oh, that just went to everybody. Because it was you. Did you read it?
I did.
Yeah.
And I let you answer it. I was not going to answer back. I was like, okay, that's for Case.
Yeah, that was yeah. So I was like, oh, that went to everybody. Maybe I should.
That made me feel that anymore. When I got it, I felt like, oh wow, I'm in a club. Yeah.
No, I would like that, because there is. I think it's cool to interact with everybody, but that particular story was like, wow. Okay.
It was wow. So respectfully, I was like, I'm not going to respond to this. This is Case's communication.
Yeah. All right. So how much we have to pay to read the story you're talking about?
Oh no,
I'm just teasing.
It's just.
It was really personal. It was really.
Oh, I got you. Right.
Yeah.
And I think you draw that out of people, Case. There's something about you that makes people open up.
Yeah.
I think it's because I'm real. And
yeah.
I truly care, and I don't know what it is, but I've always had that. Even when I was dumb as shit, even when I was completely asleep, people felt that they could talk to me about. I remember one time. We're probably out of time, right?
No, we're never out of time.
Yeah.
Well, one time
we'll go to midnight.
I was in college, and I don't know anything. I literally don't. All I know is how to play golf really well and how to have a good time. I don't know anything. And in 1 week, I had 2 people that I didn't know, actually that I didn't like. They were on their way to commit suicide, and they came to my house before. And I'm like, I'm so young, and I'm thinking like, isn't there like professionals for this? Like, why did you? But I knew exactly what to say to them. I don't even know how I knew, but I just knew. So
it's really intense.
I just, I don't know. I think
draw it out of people. Yeah, they say the things that they couldn't say to anybody else.
So I don't know why that is, but I relish that. I will take pride that I'm good in those situations. At when people are really, really down. Yeah, actually, I had somebody 2 days ago that was ready to commit suicide, and I just stopped my life, and I just felt the need to talk to them for an hour, and then I gave them a session, and I don't know what happened, but
did it reconnected them? It basically got them back to themselves and why they're here, why they came here. Hopefully,
some of the times I was just like literally just cussing and telling dirty jokes, but that is what she needed at that moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I could tell she was laughing, and she was. And sometimes, man, that's what we just need to do is just lighten up, laugh, get new perspective.
It's hard here. It can get really hard. Yeah. It can.
I know. It is. Yeah.
But we came here, and there's got to be a reason why we came here.
Well, see, my opinion is we're badasses. Like, I don't think you can come here unless you can handle it. And if you, I mean, think about it. If you grew up in a really unhospitable family environment where you were verbally, physically, sexually abused, you chose those parents. How badass are you that you knew that you could choose such a dark environment and still make it back to the light? Like, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then I totally agree.
We got to talk about that, because people are like, why would anybody choose that? Why? Yeah. You know, there's got to be a...
People don't realize how boring it is for no challenges.
What?
You know? People don't realize how boring it is to sit around without any challenges after a while. I mean, you can only have so much of everything being perfect before you're like, I want some challenges, you know?
And I don't think that we don't take these challenges on only for our own growth. I mean, we take these, I mean, you know, you could be going by, you know, you could be driving to work and there could be a homeless person there on the street. On the other side, that might be your best friend, your family, and they chose that life because one day you are going to drive by and that's going to change your life forever. And so they could literally live their whole life just to affect you at that moment. And then how you change ripples out and changes the lives of all these other people. I don't think we know this.
Yeah, I've read that.
We don't know anything.
It's possible that some people, you know, some people go, there can't be a God because of child abuse, you know, or whatever. And then I have read, it's a theory, that people volunteer for those positions.
Absolutely.
So that they can affect the people around them. So people can respond to their need, their desperate need, as a way to help others evolve, advance, ascend, atonement.
Absolutely.
You know, and
I believe that 100%.
A tough job. Yeah.
I believe that 100%. And it's very hard to get your mind around that in this 3D world. But there's more going on in this 3D world. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we have such a limited view on how we're affecting others and how others have affected us and who they are.
But we want perfection. We want all humans and all animals, all life to be happy, healthy, safe. You know, that's what I think we're aiming for, because when I talk to people in our community, they're feeling pain for people across the world who are feeling pain. You know, now it's not just their pain, it's everybody's pain they feel.
Well, I think that we're backwards on that. I really do. I know this is going to sound like, because I'm probably going to piss some people off.
No, I know what you're going to say. Go ahead.
You have to heal yourself. Because when you heal yourself, we are projecting onto the world. When you heal yourself, your world changes. The world starts to heal. And I know people, they'll think that's crazy, but that's, in my opinion, you heal yourself first, and then the world starts to heal. And that's just, I don't know. That's just, that's what I believe now. And until something major happens to cause me to change my beliefs. But I will say, I don't have any problem changing my beliefs. I am not attached to my beliefs. I treat beliefs like Lego blocks. And if I find another belief that works out better for me, I will throw away my old belief and replace it with a new belief like that. My beliefs to me are
fluid. They're water. Yeah. Fluid. They come and they go. And I think that's true of me and Shane and most of the people that we hang out with here on YouTube.
I think that's a very crucial, because when you take your beliefs very seriously, you can't let go of them.
You don't learn. You don't grow.
You don't.
Yeah, you can't build. You can't go any higher on your Lego tower.
Yeah.
You're stuck. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true.
We definitely have that in common here on Unbiased and on the Fence, which is why we're all congregating on your fence.
Exactly.
I think that's probably one of the healthiest things somebody can do is you just not take yourself too seriously. You're not your beliefs. I mean, you're way beyond.
And don't take life too seriously. Don't let it weigh you down into desperation, because this life that you're experiencing here could be a fraction of who you are, a fraction of what you are. Yeah.
And don't you feel like it's a lot of it's just being honest, realizing how much you don't know. I mean, we spend our life trying to figure out what we do know, but I think when you reach that point, it's just that you realize that there's no way I'm ever going to know all these things I want to know.
Like,
and being okay with that.
Know so much before. Wow.
Right. But then that decreases being judgmental towards other people and things like that too.
It's a win-win.
Yeah.
I remember when I hear all these people talking about getting rid of your ego. There was like about a year in college. I don't know exactly what happened to me, but I reached that state where I think my ego was gone for a while. And what I found was every single conversation that I had no opinion. I could see every single person's different perspective. I saw everybody's perspective. And when everybody's perspective is valid from their life, you kind of lose yourself. And it was a beautiful time, but I like my perspective. And I like to, I don't know, there was something I gained, but something I lost. And
so in other words, you're saying you have some respect for ego. You're not like banish that ego, lock it in the cellar and never let it out.
I do not think we should banish the ego. The ego has its part. I mean, that's our personalities. But it's not supposed to control our lives. You know what I mean? Like it's
you're like, tame the ego, don't kill it. Tame the ego.
It has a place.
Yeah. Let the soul or spirit overrule the ego, but don't totally become devoid of your personality, of who you are.
You know who I think has done a tremendous job of getting rid of their this is kind of a joke, but not really. Who I think has done a tremendous job of getting rid of their ego is Eckhart Tolle.
Oh, okay. Very familiar. Yeah. The way he speaks is so unusual. I've read most of his books.
So would you want to go party with Eckhart Tolle?
No.
No way.
No.
No way. You would not want to go hang out and watch something with Eckhart Tolle because he's just being. You know what I mean? I think that, I mean, I love Eckhart Tolle. His book, The Power of, no, not The Power Now. That is his book, but The New World. Oh, dude.
I haven't read that. I only read The Power of Now and Practicing the Power of Now. I'll have to get the other one.
It's I think it's a little bit easier to read, but I love that guy. But I mean,
we'll invite him on, Shane, and see if he comes. You know, we got Lynne McTaggart, we got Cynthia Sue Larson, we got Case.
Yeah.
So let's see if we can
don't even put me in those guys.
Yes, you're up there with all those guys. We'll go for Eckhart Tolle next. We'll see. He might bless us with his presence. Bruce Lipton said no, but I still love him. We're not big enough.
What about Bashar? You guys ever thought about getting Bashar on?
I love Bashar, but would he visit our tiny little, he's so big. He might.
I think he would. 15,000 subscribers is not small.
I know, but to certain guys like Bruce, that is.
Yeah. Well,
it's big to me. That's a big show. And Shane, I'm very grateful that you actually give me a presence on your channel. But I feel blessed that we've gotten the people we did get on. Don't you?
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't trip off of it. I feel like, I guess they weren't supposed to be on right now. I don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah. You know who else would be good is Nassim Harriman.
Yes, but he's to me, he's the most intelligent scientist on the planet. I wonder if he would come on.
I think
he might.
I think he would. But he's incredibly intelligent.
But he's out there going, consciousness is here if you call it here. And if you don't call it here, then it's over there. He's so esoteric. It's awesome.
His unified field theory, I think, is the truth. I
do.
I think that's it. I think that's it. I don't quite grasp everything, but about the tiny black holes. You know what I mean? Like
the white holes, black hole connection,
feeding in on itself.
Yeah. He's talking about a toroidal field, which is like David LaPonte's primer fields. But look, David LaPonte disappeared. We don't know what happened to that guy. But he demonstrated the field that Nassim talks about.
Yes, absolutely.
So that is super cool.
Now, I would love to hang out and chill with Nassim Harriman. You know what I mean? He would be a really good guy to chill with.
You should have him on.
You know, that was actually when I started my site. That's what I was going to do, is I was going to interview people that I thought had stepped into their own mastery in their life. That's why it was called Everyday Masters.
Oh.
With people, because it's masters. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
plural.
And all these people that are waking up, they're the masters. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
It's not me. I would be Everyday Master, but it's
master. I feel like you were talking about
how I took it.
Like everybody who watches you is an everyday master.
Yes.
I kind of took it as a compliment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just realizing that. You're trying to make people realize their master.
Yes.
As a master. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to. I don't know how well I'm doing it, but
excellent, man.
You are.
You helped me step into mine, so I appreciate that.
Nice.
Man.
And Shane, you too. You and I definitely, in our own ways, are doing the same thing. It's all about empowering the individual so that they can sense their own sovereignty and power and magnificence.
Yes.
You know, that's my job. That's all I want to do.
Yeah.
And my whole thing is like, you know, getting everyone to realize they are the star role of their life. You know, they're the star of their life.
Yeah.
They don't have to look to anyone else. You know.
Yeah.
Life does revolve around
thing, right? But we have our own ways of doing it.
Exactly. Same message, different package.
Yeah.
I really wish I would have known this, because I mean, maybe every once in a while, but like never compare myself to anybody else. And I wish I would have had this ability when I was younger to not compare yourself to other people, because that is like, that's the worst thing you can do is compare yourself to somebody else.
Yeah, because
there's
always someone better who can do something you're doing better, and there's always someone worse. There's always somebody who does it worse. There's never, I don't know. It's like when you compare yourselves to others, you lose the beauty of what you're trying to express because you're judging it before you express it.
Yeah. And boy, when I see my kids starting, if I see something with my kids and they're like comparing themselves, man, I get on that right away. I'm like, hey, whoa. We don't do that.
Cool.
Like, no, that ain't what we do here. That's an endless black hole into unhappiness.
That's the old system. That's the old programming.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's cool because you don't have to judge yourself. You just have to appreciate it. Appreciate your own uniqueness in what you bring. And then it helps you to not judge others. Because if you appreciate yourself, how could you judge somebody else? You know?
Yeah.
And how can you like really, if you talk about like appearance and stuff like that, you know, everybody's been photoshopped and airbrushed and all these images. And if you've got your kid comparing themselves to somebody that's not even a real true representation, you know, it's like totally setting up this impossible, you know,
because all those people doing that, you don't do that when you're happy. You know what I mean? You don't take a bunch of selfies and like filter it like when you're, you know what I mean? Like all those people are dealing with the same stuff everybody's dealing with. Yeah. And so, you know, when a young kid sees somebody and they're like, oh, their life's so perfect. No, dude, their life is not like that. It's and there will be a fallout from that for sure. Like there will be repercussions for this. I have to get some likes. I have to look, you know what I mean? Like,
I have to be seen. Somebody watch me. Somebody like me. Somebody, you know.
Isn't it strange though when you think of like where we've gone in just a couple of generations from no movie stars or anything whatsoever? You know, Jesus was like the main dude on the block for like, you know, centuries, right? Then all of a sudden, like you got, you know, Marilyn Monroe and James Dean, and then like all these very beginning superstars, you know, presidents. Once TV came around and people got to kind of broaden their face and, you know, through media, newspapers and things like that. And we've gone from that, you know, where there's just like this super small percentage of stars out of the whole thing to like anyone can be a star now, you know, with your likes on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's really
Maybe that's going to get rid of this, because if you've got a gazillion superstars now because of media, then who's a superstar anymore? You used to have to be in a movie. Now you just have to turn your phone on and you're a superstar. So maybe it'll dampen down the superstar effect. You know what I mean? There'll be too many superstars for anybody to be a superstar.
But that's cool. People can get it out of their system, and with just like 20,000 followers, instead of having to put out a gold record or something, they can put on a show for a couple hundred people in their town, and they can still live it, you know, without it being like that full.
It's kind of like Monroe then, right?
Yeah. It's interesting, though. It's definitely interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, shoot. We're at 2 hours, and definitely want to have you back sometime, Case. Man,
okay, man.
A pleasure.
Yeah, come back, please. And thank you. I'm so excited about doing your what's the program called that I'm on with the 8 reconnections?
And you know, I really want to know, like, I need feedback, because you know this is brand new.
I'm going to give it to you, but like I said, I'm tapping out. I've never done that before. I'm a professional meditator.
Yeah.
I meditate 1 to 2 hours a day without falling asleep.
Wow.
Boom, I'm gone. And I'm like, where did I go? And what did I do? But it must have been far, far away in a distant place, because I just don't tap out otherwise.
Yeah. Well, I think something special is going to happen. And there's nobody else doing this. There's no other reconnective healing practitioners that do group sessions. And when I did the first one, I was kind of like, okay, dude, you kind of put yourself out there. Let's see what happens. And then when I started getting the feedback, I was like, oh my God, this is stronger than one-on-one. So,
So
everybody go to Case's channel and sign up for at least the group session, which is once a month, right?
And I have that link below too. It's everydaymasters.life/group-sessions.
See,
you can just click that link below.
And then if you really want a powerful experience, jump into the upgraded sessions with me.
Yeah, and your YouTube channel is also below. So anybody wanting to check out the videos we were talking about, the Death Walker video, that was a good one. Of course,
go see the
with
one
your daughters.
Come to the planet without instructions. Is that the one? They're talking to each other.
It's called Volunteers. You'll see it on the
Volunteers. Yeah, it's my daughters.
Yeah, that was.
Oh wait, I like the last one you did, where you're the director and you're sitting way above yourself, and you're like telling yourself off for not. Oh, that is just so much fun.
I tell you what, I actually impressed myself with that.
That was fun.
When I was watching that, I was like, oh my God, I believe this. Like literally, I was like, oh my, I can act. Like,
that was good. I will watch it again, because it really was fun to watch. And everything that I was hearing from the director was nonsense. And every time you told him to shut up, I was like, yeah, I get it. I get it. Totally.
It's funny, because when I put that video out, I thought it was really funny. But you have to realize that I'm talking to myself, you know, and I don't really get to that till like 7 minutes in. But I like put it up, and like the first comment was unsubbed. And I was like, wow. I thought that was really good.
It was good. Oh my God, that is just so funny that somebody didn't get it.
I know. I was like, okay, that's cool. Because, I mean, when I was editing that video, I literally laughed out loud probably 50 times. And,
but it's okay that person unsub, because they just don't belong there yet.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Ears to hear and eyes to see. Yeah, totally,
yeah. It's all good. It's all good.
Cool.
Good.
Hey,
well,
it might hit the spot here in a year or something. You never know. You know, everybody's at their spot. So
yeah, and everybody's at the perfect spot. Like,
exactly.
You're all right on time.
We're all on time.
Yeah.
The event is you. You are the event, sweetheart. I know you agree with that.
Yeah.
You're the event. You're on time. Don't worry.
Hey, man. Well, lots of love and light to everybody in the chat. And thank you, Case and Eileen, for being here. Peace.
Peace. Adios.
If you'd like to support the work I do, go to paypal.me/UOTF. Thanks.